"You cannot park that unauthorized vehicle here," and I demand it be towed immediately. "This vehicle is authorized. Ma'am, stop interfering or face arrest." Susan had my disabled neighbor's van towed in the middle of the night like it was trashed. I only knew because I woke up to his voice outside, shaky and scared, saying, "My van. It's gone." My chair was inside. My neighbor Arthur is a veteran. He lost the use of his legs. That van is his legs now. It has the ramp, the lifts, everything. Without it, he's stuck. I ran outside in my pajamas and saw the empty space where his blue van usually sat. No oil stain, no note, nothing. Just this cold and clean parking spot, like he never existed. Then I saw her. Susan, our HOA president, arms crossed, clipboard in hand, like some low-budget movie villain. She was watching Arthur panic from her porch with this smug little smile, looking for something. She called out, "The board voted no disabled vans in common view." "It lowers property values." I swear my brain short-circuited. "His van is ADA compliant," I said. "He lives here." She rolled her eyes. Rules are rules. Page 12 of the updated handbook. He was warned. He was never warned. None of us even got a copy of that updated handbook. Arthur's hands were shaking so hard he could barely hold his phone. "Ma'am, all my medical equipment is in that van," he said. "How am I supposed to get to my doctor?" Susan actually shrugged. "Not my problem. Talk to the tow company." Then she walked back inside like she'd just finished taking out the trash. I walked Arthur back to his door. He was fighting tears and my chest hurt just looking at him. This man fought for the country, and our HOA president just decided his van was ugly decor. "Call the HOA, I told him. We'll sort this out." We tried the next day. Arthur and I both emailed the board. I sent photos, the ADA paperwork, everything. I even printed copies and slid them under each board member's door. No one answered. The only reply came from Susan herself. Per HOA rules, that vehicle violated appearance standards and was rightfully removed. Any further harassment will be reported. Harassment. She steals his van and calls us the problem. We tried talking to neighbors. I went door to door on our row. People looked out through blinds and then opened doors only a crack. "I'm so sorry," one whispered, "but I can't go against Susan. She threatened to fine us for our kids' bikes being outside." Another said, "A tow truck. Kai wanted to film, but you know how she is. Everyone was scared of her. Scared of fines, scared of letters, scared of being that neighbor Susan targets next. So she got away with it. At least, that's what she thought." That night, I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop open. HOA handbook on one side, Google on the other. Anger boiling so hot I could taste it. I read every single page of the HOA rules. It's not a single clear line about disabled vehicles. Then I searched state laws. ADA rules, fair housing, reasonable accommodation, and there it was. Our state law said HOA must provide reasonable parking accommodations for residents with disabilities. No extra fees, no blocking, no towing without due notice and an appeal process. Susan didn't just break the rules, she broke the law. That's when the revenge plan started to form. Not the petty kind, the legal, nuclear kind. First, I helped Arthur write a detailed complaint. Simple words, straight facts, date, time, what Susan said. What was in the van, that it was his only accessible vehicle. Then we called the sheriff's non-emergency line. I thought they'd brush us off, but the deputy on the phone got very quiet when we mentioned ADA and no appeal process. "Do you still have the HOA president's message?" he asked. "Oh, we do," I said. I had screenshots, printouts, backups of backups. "Sit tight," he replied. "We'll send someone to talk to you both tomorrow." The next day felt like a movie. 2 sheriff's cars rolled into our little HOA like they were pulling up to a crime scene. Neighbors peeked through blinds again. This time, a few actually came out with their phones ready. Susan marched out of her house, fake smile on, bright blazer like she was about to sell us bad insurance. "Officers," she said loudly, "is there a problem? I'm the HOA president." They ignored the title. "Ma'am, we received a complaint about an accessible vehicle being towed," one sheriff said. "We'd like to see your paperwork and notice records." Susan's smile twitched. "Oh, that. It was in violation of our community standards. I have full authority as president." "Sure," the sheriff said. "We'll need to see the written warnings, the board vote, and the ADA accommodation policy you provided the resident." You could see the color drain from her face. "Ada, it doesn't apply to us," she scoffed. "This is private property." The other sheriff pulled out a folder. "Actually, it does. And right now, it looks like you forcibly removed a disabled resident's only mobility vehicle without notice, which may be a violation of state and federal law." The neighbors started filming. I heard a quiet "oh damn" from somewhere behind me. Susan looked around and realized half the street had their phones up. Suddenly, the clipboard queen didn't look so powerful. She stuttered. "Well, the board approved." The sheriff cut her off. "We already spoke to 2 board members this morning. They said they didn't vote on anything and weren't told about a tow." That was the first twist. Her own board threw her under the bus to save themselves. The sheriff turned to Arthur. "Sir, you said your wheelchair, medical supplies, and lift are in the van." Arthur nodded. "Yes, sir. I can't leave my house without it." The sheriff looked back at Susan. His voice went cold. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to call that tow company right now. That van is coming back today. It will be returned to this exact spot with no fees. Then we're filing a report, and you may be hearing from the county and possibly federal authorities about ADA violations. You understand?" Susan's mouth opened and closed like a fish. "You can't talk to me like that. I'm the HOA pres." "Ma'am," he said, "right now, you're just someone we're investigating." Someone in the back actually laughed. Susan pulled out her phone with shaking hands and called the tow company on speaker. The poor guy on the other end sounded confused and annoyed until the sheriff introduced himself. "Return the van. No fees." "Now," the sheriff said, "and send the invoice to the HOA president if you must bill someone." When the tow truck rolled back in an hour later, half the neighborhood was outside. People had chairs. Someone handed Arthur a soda like it was a front row seat at a show. The driver lowered the van slowly. Susan stood there stiff, forced to sign papers in front of everyone. The sheriff watched her like a hawk. "Careful with that ramp," the driver muttered, actually being more gentle than our HOA president. Once the van was back in its spot, the sheriff had Susan sign one more form. "This acknowledges that you unlawfully ordered the removal and agreed to cooperate with any investigation," he said. She signed, jaw clenched so tight. I thought her teeth might crack. Within a week, the fallout hit. The county sent an ADA compliance officer. Susan got a personal visit. The board held an emergency meeting. This time, they actually invited everyone. They voted her out as president on the spot. She tried to argue, but someone in the back yelled, "What, you're going to tow our chairs too?" And people laughed. Susan ended up fined by the HOA's own insurance for exposing them to legal risk. She had to pay for all the tow fees, plus a nice chunk for damages and legal review. The best part, new rules got written. Reserved accessible spots, no towing without board vote and written notice, and mandatory ADA training for the board. Now, when I look out my window, I see Arthur's blue van parked safely in its spot. He waves when the ramp lowers and he rolls down. Sometimes kids from the block help him with groceries. Susan still lives here, but she walks fast and keeps her head down. No more clipboards. No more late-night power trips. Every time she passes that van, you can see the shame all over her face. Please follow Karen's conflict for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think she got what she deserves? Comment below.